Greetings to you, music lovers, thrill seekers, conversationalists all across the fruited plain. Time for broadcast excellence. Back at you once again, Rush Limbaugh, back today as I told you I would be. I tell you something, you can count on it. You can believe it. You can make book on it. Happy to be here as always. Really, really happy to be here. Telephone number 800-282-2882. The email address, lrushmore@eibnet.com. For those of you who are at rushlimbaugh.com right now trying to access the Ditto Cam, go ahead. It's working. It's just that it says it's not. It says no Ditto Cam today, guest host. Guest hosts, you don't know this, but they're not me. So they get faces for radio. I'm trying to say this very diplomatically. And so we never do the Ditto Cam for the guest hosts. So when there's no Ditto Cam, it says no Ditto Cam today, guest host. And that label is still up, but it doesn't mean that the Ditto Cam's not where it is. Just click on it, and I'm assured by Coco that everything should be fine. Well, my friends, it's amazing what happens one day of absence, and it's amazing the things that happen. I mean, they always happen when I'm here, too. Don't misunderstand. For example, Obama drops plan to raise taxes on 529 college savings accounts. The Obama administration said that it's going to drop a plan to tax so-called 529 college savings accounts after the proposal sparked widespread criticism over its potential impact on the middle class. The move followed a public call by John Boehner on Tuesday for the White House to withdraw its plan. I didn't hear Obama do that. Why do I always... When I want to say Boehner, I always say Obama. I've got some faux pas fixated in my head. I always do it. I meant Boehner there. Boehner called on Tuesday for Obama to withdraw the plan, but I don't remember Boehner. Well, I'm not saying he didn't do it. All I know is I didn't hear about this plan in any detail anywhere but here on this program. We spent 2 days on this program detailing this because it was flat out outrageous what they were going to do. And I'm frankly surprised they withdrew this so soon, folks. I mean, this is not modus operandi for the regime. Now, to refresh your memory, because there may have been other people talk about it, don't misunderstand. I just know that here we made a big deal out of this, because it is a big deal, because it came on the heels of Obama claiming that he was going to raise taxes on the rich in order to do something about income inequality. And in the process of making the point that raising taxes on the rich does not elevate anybody else, raising taxes on the rich does not really change whatever gap there is between rich and poor. And it really doesn't, and it never has. All it does, it convinces people in the middle class that the rich are being punished. It convinces people in the middle class that the rich are going to have it socked to them and they're going to pay more taxes. And they've been conditioned to feel good about that, which is another thing I really resent about this government and the left. And that is the conditioning of people to feel successful and triumphant when other Americans are theoretically harmed by government policy. I mean, that really stinks. So here came the regime announcing, we got this gap between rich and poor, this income gap with the wealthy and the middle class is just too big. This is unseemly, they said. This is unfair, they said. This is outrageous. And so their proposal was to raise taxes on the rich, as though that was going to do anything for anybody. And it's not even really going to harm the rich. I mean, capital gains rate here and there. The rich find their ways around these things always. They are going to pay more taxes. There's no question about it, because the rich are the ones paying the lion's share of taxes. Top 1% paying 40% of all government revenue now as it is. And they're going to pay a couple of percentage points more, but it ain't going to elevate anybody else. But everybody else is going to go, yeah, man, you suck it to them. Yeah. And the government has, over the many years that I've been paying attention, pitted citizen against citizen in this country and created all this class envy, and it's unseemly. And so that's what the regime did. But after doing that, they piled on and then said that they were going to eliminate the tax advantages for people who had invested in 529 accounts. Now, to briefly review, a 529 account is like a 401k or like a medical savings account. Here's the deal the government made with you. If you take money from your salary off the top before your salary has been taxed every pay period, and there was a maximum you could take, and you put it in this 529 as an education savings account, and that money is supposedly, theoretically, being stashed away for you to pay college, junior college, whatever, education expenses for your children. And like any of these plans, if you leave the money alone, it grows, theoretically. And if you leave the money alone, you pay no penalty on it. And if you use the money when your child needs the money for education purposes, if you withdraw from the 529 account for that, then there's no tax penalty. However, if you withdraw the money prematurely, before your kid gets to college age, or if you withdraw the money for any other purpose, then you would pay tax on it. That was part of the original deal. The regime's announcement was that they were going to they were going to change the rules in the middle of the game. They were going to eliminate the tax-exempt status of these accounts, and people were going to have to start paying income tax on the money that they had put away in these 529 accounts. These are middle-class people who had done this. It was a tax increase on the middle class, a rules change in the middle of the game, and it totally destroyed the purpose of the program. It was not a tax on the rich. It was a tax on the middle class. After the middle class had been promised they'd get this program benefit, whatever, tax-free. I mean, it was outrageous what it was. And look, folks, I don't remember anybody else calling them out on this. I mean, I can't listen to everybody else. I don't listen to everybody else. I don't watch everything else. So I don't know who all made a big deal about this. But I did get a bunch of emails saying, hey, Rush, did you see what you caused me? Because the people's perception was that we'd made a big deal of it here on the EIB networks. Anyway, in 1 or 2 days, they pulled this back. Now, that doesn't happen that fast. The regime, here, let's go audio soundbite number 11. This is Eric Schultz. There are more kids in that press office at the White House that end up out there speaking on the microphone. You got Josh Earnest, you had Jay Carney, you got Bill Burton. Now, I never heard of this guy, Eric Schultz, but they found him from somewhere. He's probably the guy that cleans up the Skittles wrappers after NFL games. He walks out there, and he's talking about why Obama dropped the idea to tax money in these 529 plans from his budget proposal.
We wanted to make sure that this didn't become a distraction to help jeopardize the rest of the plan. It was a distraction. We decided to move forward with the rest of our plan, and we hope Congress moves on it shortly. We didn't want this to become a distraction. The distraction that this was becoming, this particular piece was becoming a distraction. We didn't want that to jeopardize the broader plan, so that's why we announced what we did.
Oh, so so it's becoming a distraction, eh? What does that mean? It means that people found out about it. That means that people found it was a distraction because Obama wasn't going to be able to get away with it. Obama had promised the middle class he was going to only raise taxes on the rich. And to whatever extent that works, the middle class out there applauding it. Yeah, you stick it to them, babe. You stick it to them. We hate the rich. We think they should really be. You go to it. And then they find out from this program that, hey, you know that 529 plan you put in, like, guess what? The tax-exempt status, it's gone. You're going to pay income tax on that starting this year. When you file your return in April, you're going to have to pay tax on all that money you've put in. Well, yeah, I imagine it was a distraction with all the feedback the White House was getting on this. Anyway, the program's been canceled. And because it became such a distraction, they are not going to ask Congress to pass the 529 provision. The move, I'm reading here from the Wall Street Journal, the move is a setback for Obama. He sought, in the run-up to last week's State of the Union show, to reframe a long-running debate over the tax system by issuing a set of proposals to address middle-class anxiety. over wage and income stagnation, which, of course, it does nothing about it. Raising taxes on other people doesn't help people that don't get their taxes raised. It just doesn't work that way, other than to fuel this idiotic class envy. Now, to pay for his ideas, he proposed several changes to restrict the use of tax-advantaged savings accounts. The regime argued that the accounts disproportionately benefit higher-income families. They don't. Higher-income families write the check for tuition. This was a direct assault on the middle class.